My name is John Falb. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, the first race ever is really where I grew up in Dallas, racing motorcycles on the street on Saturday nights, drag racing. And yeah, those were a little dangerous, but fun times. I never drove the P2 until the very end of last year. I knew that once I had a taste of it, I wouldn't want to go back. Patterson crashed in Monza. He hurt his pelvis very badly. Fortunately, I think he's fully recovered at this point, but you know, it's always difficult to deal with. The team did exactly what it needed to do to get the car back on track. You know, they sourced the parts they needed. They worked as long as they needed to work to get the car sorted and ready for the next day. And in both cases, really, we didn't miss much track time. So the highlights of 2019 really start with Le Mans. We had a tremendous race, really nothing wrong during the entire race. The only issue was I hit a floppy with the front splitter, which caused us to have to stop. My goal at the outset was to finish 10th. I thought that was a reasonable goal. Of course, I wanted to push for 5th or better.
This is Just Take Me Home Country Road.
We ended up 10th handily, so I was really excited about that. And then the follow-on race of Barcelona, where we had a very good car. did the first double stint and brought the car home in 7th place. And I just was really over the moon because that put us in a great position to finish the race. Unfortunately, we had a little issue with the rear gurney actually right after I got out of the car, so it made it really tough for my super fast pro teammates to make hay. I can't not talk about Silverstone, which for me was probably the most fun I've ever had in a race car. I think we started 12th or 13th. And about 5 or 10 minutes into the race, it started to rain. I was able to really make a ton of progress through the field and drove up to 3rd place. In one graphic, I was actually 2nd for a moment. Heading into Spa, we had a lot of high hopes. The car was starting to work better. We were coming to grips with the new tire. Our driver changes were great. The pit stops were mega. But by the time we got into qualifying, we realized that we had missed a couple of steps. And we ended up P11 out of 17. I would take the start, do the first 2 stints, which I was super excited about. My start was great. I did really kind of a textbook start, didn't do anything crazy, avoided a spin in the first corner, picked up a couple of positions over the first few laps. But by 10 minutes into the race, I realized that the rear end of the car just wasn't hooking up the way we needed, and it was very difficult to get the power down. And Spa has a lot of really long straights. It's really fast. So if you can't get the power down early and aggressively, then you're going to struggle. And ultimately, we struggled the entire race. Finished P10, which I was happy with, but knew that we had a lot more on offer. So we kind of went back to the shop with a lot more work to do after that round. Heading into the final round of the season, Portimao, one of my favorite racetracks. Tons of elevation change. The place is like a roller coaster. I've always loved going there. And we had come to more grips with the car, had started to make some good progress. I think we qualified in 9th. I would take the start outside row. I couldn't have had a better start. Rounded about 4 cars through the first 3 turns, really just on the outside, and didn't make any contact with anybody. But behind me it was mass carnage. At least 6 or 7 cars crashed. They had to red flag the race. Lo and behold, I looked around and we were in 5th place. I couldn't believe it. It was awesome. But they also rejiggered the drive times, which meant that instead of being able to really hold my position, they added a significant amount of time for me in the car. You know, I just went back in the car when the race started, put my head down. I was able to maintain a position
and actually pull a gap on the G-Drive car behind me. So I was really stoked with that. I really enjoyed my time in the car. Olivier and Andrea pounded out lots of great laps. They had some great battles. It was such a fun race. We ended up in 5th place, which also meant I got a trophy. And the team couldn't believe it. We got the win in the Pro-Am category, got to go on the podium, got to spray some champagne, and what a way to end the season. It was really exciting.